Okay, so now what are we doing today?
Today, we're diving a little bit into fiction categories because we've had a lot of people ask questions about fiction. What's the difference between assessing fiction and nonfiction? And I know you really wanted to focus on just nonfiction, Virginie, but at some point.
Okay. Oh, did you say that that's what we're doing? No,
that's exactly what we're doing. We had this conversation, Virginie. I said fiction, and you said maybe we'll get to it. And I took that as a yes. So let's do it.
Can we do the nonfiction categories first? And then we'll do fiction. Promise.
No, because your strategy is how long can I draw out nonfiction before I absolutely have to go to fiction? Has anybody noticed this pattern? Tell me you've noticed this pattern. Like, have you thank you. Yes, no fiction. Yes, fiction first. Do you see? Okay, we've got a mixed balance here. Okay, we will focus on fiction and nonfiction. Which one should we focus on first?
Fine. Go with your fiction. And next time, I'm just going to not give you a choice. Then, so we'll try to do both. How about that? Let's try to do both. Okay.
That works for me. Okay.
Oh, and just sorry to interrupt. Our entire email server is down. So guys, if you send us emails, we apologize. We can't access to our inbox, so it's been fixed. Yeah, joy of IT. So yeah, just so that you don't worry if you're not receiving any answers yet. The entire server is down. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was rough all morning long trying to get on and not being able to. So if you sent me anything, we didn't respond. It's not because we don't love you. It's because we can't get on there. So, okay. When you get to Amazon for beginners, some of this is going to be old hat, and I'm sorry, but we got to make sure that we cover stuff for people who are new. Make sure that if you want to look at the categories, whether fiction or nonfiction, you can begin in bestsellers. Okay, so you can click on bestsellers if you want to. And you can take a look at all of these categories through here, and you can access books to look at paperback books, physical copies of books, and look at their categories. Or you can come over here and click on Kindle Store. Sometimes when I'm just trying to get to know categories and figure out what is selling well, which categories I could possibly compete in, I'm not necessarily looking at book ideas right away. I just want to get a feel for the categories. What I really like to do is come in here, and I like to click on this, and I just like to take a look at a specific genre. So let's say we want to dive into mysteries and look at the different categories there. I'm just going to scroll down here and click on Kindle Store, and I'm just going to type in, I'll just type in mysteries because that is that's a very big umbrella category. Okay. And I'm just gonna, I don't necessarily want to click on any of those sponsored ads, because when you do that, you kind of cost someone a click. I'm just letting you know that right now. As a marketer, I'm like, don't click on it if you're not going to buy it. Okay. So this is a mystery book, and I want, this is just one way that I will get to categories, because I also like to just look and see what books are being, popping up, categories are popping up. You'll notice that with any book, they're going to rank in 3 specific categories, and it's any category that they chose. Okay. But Amazon will pick up 3. I just want to click on here so we can get to different categories within mystery and take a look at things like that. Now, here's the difference between focusing on fiction and nonfiction. With nonfiction, you're looking a lot at that profitability assessment sheet that we discussed with you, where you're looking at, is there a demand? Is there, going to be enough people wanting this particular subject? What's different with fiction is that you've got, main categories. Okay, so I'm going to show these main categories to you right now that within fiction are always profitable. There's no way about, they're always profitable. So the highest selling category in the Kindle Store is romance, and it's been that way for a long time. So as far as categories go, a big umbrella category, you will always find profitability in romance. Okay, so it's not necessarily even an issue of, is there enough demand here? There will always be demand for romance. And then you look at science fiction and fantasy. Is there always going to be a demand for science fiction and fantasy? The answer to that so far is yes. People are always wanting science fiction and fantasy. So that's profitable. This is profitable. You don't even have to run the numbers yet. Just looking at these umbrella categories, we already know. Mystery, thriller, and suspense, that's another one that is always profitable. So I just want to focus on those three right now, okay? Let's just click on mystery, thriller, and suspense. When you decide to check out an umbrella category, what you are looking for is, where can I compete? It's not about profitability. This is incredibly profitable. There is always demand here. You've got to decide where you can compete and what sub niches you want to compete in, because mystery, thriller, and suspense, huge umbrella categories that cover huge ranges of sub niches. Okay, so let's just start with crime fiction. I want you to take a look at all of the different types of crime fiction. You've got heist crime fiction, kidnapping crime fiction, murder crime fiction, noir. And as you go through and start looking at these different sub niches, what you can see is that there are a lot of possibilities. Okay, so your homework is a little bit different when it comes to fiction. If this is something you want to pursue, you are looking at, what sub niches can I compete in? And what are the reader expectations? So if you're interested in mystery and possibly crime fiction and heists, maybe you'll click on this, okay? And you can take a look and ask yourself, okay, do I want to do a crime fiction mystery book or series and have it commissioned and ghostwritten, having to do with like bank heists or, different types of robberies, corporate espionage, those types of things. And what you want to do is just take a look at how competitive that particular category is. Okay, so you'll click here on Katie Spy, just like we always do. But instead of really looking at like what the average sales rank is, this is actually where those sometimes these stoplights can come into play, but you're really looking at these individual sales ranks. Okay, this is going to be an incredibly competitive category to jump into. So if you wanted to do heist crime fiction, you could still do it, but I wouldn't try to compete here. I wouldn't try to choose a category like this. I would try to find something similar in essence. But it's just a matter of taking a look at all of these different categories and deciding what is extremely competitive and where can I fit in, so that I'm not competing against books that only have a sales rank of 1,489. For those of you who are new, your bestseller rank, your BSR, this is how close are you to being #1 in the store? Anything under 10,000 is fairly good. Anything 5,000 and below is even better. These folks are selling tons of books every day because they're that much closer to being #1 in the store. You don't want to compete with these folks, okay? That you not starting out new. So that's the way you are assessing fiction, okay? These are always profitable. You got that down. There's always demand. Now we're looking at competition. So it's almost like you're skipping demand on these certain categories, these umbrella categories. And what you're looking at now is, what type of book could I do? Where could I compete? And I really want you to take a look at all of these different categories and get familiar with them and see what you like and see what you're interested in. Now, if you've spent years reading mystery and a specific type of mystery, like a kidnapping mystery, you already know what the reader expectations are. And that is great, because that is, a way for you to decide, what other categories could I fit this in where it might not actually be too competitive, especially if the kidnapping one specifically is very competitive. And that's where you're going to move around a little bit and start looking at all of your different options. What's really fun is taking a look at literature and fiction, because it isn't just that outright mystery, thriller, suspense, kidnapping, where everybody puts their books right there. You're finding little secret sub niches that you think, oh, you know what, this is applicable. I'm going to try and see if I can get my book within this sub niche because it does apply, but not a lot of people are competing, if that makes sense. It's not quite as competitive. So you've got, I love this absurdist category. It's new and I still am trying to figure out what it is. But it's fiction. I seriously have no idea what absurdist is. So I've been looking into that. I was like, this is a new category. What the
have a
heck?
look. Can you go in? I just want to have a bit.
Yeah, we can look at it, but I'm just like, what is this? And I still have not found like rhyme or reason. It looks absurd, and that's what I'm beginning to realize. Like all of it looks absurd.
All your romance stuff looks absurd to me, but all your romance thing looks absurd.
Oh, someone spank her now. I'm still working on your romance cover, by the way. It will have you on it. It will. I'm going to Photoshop you in. This is happening. Oh man. Okay. Honestly, there doesn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason there. And what you'll find is that categories are popping up every day based on what a lot of authors are pushing and readers are buying. So this new category is called absurdist fiction. And I'm just like, I need to figure this out. And these new categories are fun because they're not usually competitive. This is new to me, so I don't know how long it's been here, but yeah, do you see how it's not very competitive yet? So if you can find some absurdist mysteries, like I'm not really sure what would go in here, but it would be fun to explore it. Okay. It would be fun to see where you can fit your book ideas under which categories. And that's where you figure out, you know, competition and what's viable and what could be fun. And I know some of you already have ideas in your head because you read fiction. And if you read romance, please tell Virginie. And just continuously email her with romance recommendations. Oh, she's going to kill me. And then make sure that you say with love from CJ.
What's the department of
action and adventure? Look at that one. That would be fun. So action and adventure could have a little, you know, I mean, fiction and mystery could fall. Look, this was the mystery book that I was talking about. So instead of them trying to compete head on in the straight mystery categories, we've got the cellist over here in action and adventure in the entire subcategory. And then we've got sub niches under here, which is why I love to mess with literature and fiction, because you can go in and delve in and find more fantasy, LGBTQ plus, not just like the straight umbrella categories before. You can find little sub niches where your book would be applicable and you can actually compete. So that's a lot of fun to really mess with that. So war and military, let's see what else. Okay, and we've got mystery, thriller, and suspense in here under literature and fiction. So this is actually considered a sub niche of literature and fiction and not the main umbrella category that we had seen before. So this might actually be a little bit easier to compete in and might be a place where you would put your mystery books. So literature and fiction, action and adventure, there's the sub niche, umbrella category, sub niche, sub niche right here. And then we've got all these sub niches. Okay, so just follow the path. And we can check every single one of these out and just see what our sales rankings are like within each of these. And you can check other options as well within action and adventure. Anything you think that would apply to the type of book that you want to do, that's the way you can assess things. So even within literature and fiction, all these sub niches, mystery is still going to be a rough one because it's, oh my word, it would be super hard to compete in this category. It hasn't even breached 1,000 yet. Everything's under 845. So these books are selling really, really well. So again, study this market in this way to assess competition. And yes, you can look at these stoplights, but what I really want you to do is look at their sales ranks right here. Okay. I want you to pay attention to that really, because that's going to give you really accurate data. Sometimes this competition where it says it's too strong, I sometimes question it because the sales ranks don't necessarily match with your stoplights. So look at all of the data to be able to figure out what it is it's really telling you. Okay. So that's just one way of looking at fiction and especially competition. Virginie, is there anything you want to look at?
I'm just looking at our awesome comments in the chat box. So Jason want me to say, something, but I won't. I'm
Oh,
really,
please say it. It had to do. Oh, come on, Virginie. You
no, I
cannot.
won't. I won't. I won't.
You cannot.
Yeah. So yes, I would put everything, all your romance book in the absurd category. That's for sure. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And we have a lot of really, really new people who just join. And yes, start with nonfiction because it's easier. It's easier because it's much easier that you have idea of what's the pain point, what's the problem that your book is trying to solve. And write to your audience. That's much, much easier. Once you get a bit of, once you've learned all the basics, how to navigate around, KDP, how to upload books, or some of those, rules and requirements, specifics with Amazon, then you can move to fiction. It will be, I think that nonfiction is easier. Just because we're more used to nonfiction, the concept, whereas fiction, it's not so much about fixing a problem. You're not solving a problem. You're, for some,
you're meeting reader expectations, whatever those are within a genre. So, if the mystery genre, like cozy mystery, those expectations are that it's not going to be like gritty. It's not going to be blood and guts. The murder is, there's not going to be a ton of action, although I have seen some. So it's really actually the research you would do would be like reading 10 books within that specific niche, just to get a feel for what the expectations are.
That's really it. It's really, it's not as simple as, I can just, take a piece of paper and write whatever that comes to mind. Because when it comes to, even mystery, there's all those subgenres, and you need to make sure that you're actually writing to your audience expectations. So if I'm reading a mystery, if I'm reading a spy book, and then I want to buy your book. So this is a really good point. We're going to talk about categories, like the categories you're going to choose on Amazon. But if I want to read a spy book, and you put your book, that's a mystery book, under the spy category, and I go buy your book, and I realize that it's not a spy book, I'm going to be really annoyed, and I might put some, bad reviews. So just one moment before I go on this. So there's a lot of people who join us today, and just today it's their first day. And see, that's your fault, CJ. You're confusing.
It's totally my fault. And I apologize for those who are new. We've had a lot of people who have come through and they've learned the nonfiction side of things, and they wanted some tidbits on assessing fiction, which is, they wanted to know the differences. So just briefly running through that, but we can switch back to nonfiction. We can answer any questions you want. But the best thing you can do is obviously go through the KPI beginners course, and also the weekly calls, because we cover a lot of stuff. And a lot of it sometimes is repeat, because we always have new people coming in, and we want to make sure that nobody's confused. But yeah, we can answer those questions too.
So how about, can we stop with this fiction thing?
Yes, we can stop.
Okay, can we go back to
questions?
Can we go back to the fiction? Sorry, Claudia, I promise we are going to do more fiction, but I promise.
Against her will.
I think
she'll be tied up.
Let's start from the more easier stuff. But I promise, even for those who have been here for a while, you're going to learn some stuff, some important stuff that I really want to zoom in, because I get those questions a lot, and I really want to make a few points when it comes to categories. So Donna, you're right. I would win.
Always. I'll put up a good fight, but at the end of the day, Virginie's in charge, and we all know this.
So no. Can you go to nonfiction? I want to show a few things when it comes to categories. So
yes, absolutely.
Philomena, we're going to talk about, we're talking about categories and subcategories. Okay, let's just go, I don't know, self-help.
Okay.
This is a pretty big categories, right? See, you can see all this. So we have the first label, the umbrella category is a self-help, and then go to, I don't know, motivation.
Stress management. Oh,
Yeah,
motivation.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then is that it? There's no.
That's it. Yeah, it didn't have any sub niches under that. I wonder if it would have under stress management because there tends to be some. No. Okay. It could be that it doesn't have any smaller sub niches right through here, which is odd. I know.
That's fine. That's fine. Just click on any one of those. Because
You know what, Virginia?
you're using the bestsellers. That's
Let's
why.
actually go back to Kindle eBooks because we went into straight nonfiction, but what we could do instead is just go to this self-help right here, rather than going to nonfiction and then self-help. This would give us more umbrella or niche categories, maybe. That was the theory. I could be wrong now. Yep, totally wrong.
Are you? Is it because you're in bestsellers? Can you just go out completely out? And then, yeah. So.
Well, no, I'm in top 100 paid, so I'm not in the regular bestsellers like this one.
Yeah.
I'm actually in like the top 100 paid.
Okay. That's okay. That's all right. That doesn't matter. So go to any of those books.
Okay.
So this is your book sales page or the book page, okay? And there's a few things that I just want to remind you. So everything you see here is what is called your metadata. So your title, your subtitle, your description, all those things will be checked by Amazon. So you need to make sure that there's no words that are forbidden words. Otherwise, they're not going to let you publish your book. So for example, you can't put words like best-selling and some other sensitive words. They're not going to let you publish. So scroll down. Stop. So you have the product details page. Go back a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have your ASIN here. And then some other information, the number of page. And then you see here best-selling rank. This is the BSR is 1,627 in the whole Kindle store. Okay, and then you can see those categories that the authors they put in. You can only see 3, even if they chose to put, that you can have up to 10 categories per format. So you can have 10 categories for your paperback, 10 categories for your ebooks, and they're not necessarily the same. So you can have up to 10 categories, and that's something that you should do. So when you're going to upload your book in KDP, you can choose 2 categories, right? And you should choose the 2 best categories. But once you publish your book, you have the ability to add 8 more categories. And there's a training video on how to write the full string of the categories. So you can contact Amazon. And that's going to be via Author Central page, not your KDP page. It's on Author Central. And you are going to send in an email. There's a few options where you said, they're going to give you a few options. And then it says, add categories or category management or something like that. So choose that. And then you're going to add all the 8 additional categories in there. But even once you've added all the additional categories in there, you're only going to see 3. So you need to there's two ways of checking it. Either you have Publisher Rocket and you can see all the 10 categories. Can you do can you show, are you still there? Is she gone? Am I just talking to myself? Oh no.
I'm here. Can you not see me? I muted myself because my dog was growling and it was very annoying.
Can you go to Publisher Rocket and use this book as an example and show how we can see if they have selected more categories?
Yes. Can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Like, okay, so you can see Publisher Rocket.
Oh, look, this desktop of yours, that's all tidy and clean.
Right? Shocking.
I don't know how long.
The state of my bedroom.
I don't know how long it's going to last. Yeah.
Not long. Not long. So where did you want to take a look at the
category search.
Oh, the category search. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go to the book that we're just actually looking at.
Oh, okay. You want me to type the book in?
Yeah, what's the name?
Why is my computer freezing? My computer's freezing. I apologize. We'd actually need to do a keyword research and just type it. Yeah, type it in right there. The name of the book was, hold please, Master Your Emotions. All right. We'll do that and then we'll just click on the competitor analyze stuff and pull it up through here. Okay, so see categories, or you can click on this right up here, this unleash the categories.
So this is a
might actually be better.
Here we go. Did you click on, oh yeah, all categories? So you can see that this book is in all those categories.
Or at least the subject matter falls under all of these categories. If you just want to go back and take a look at see the categories in that particular book, then it will show you the categories for that particular book that it falls under. But if you wanted to see all the categories for all of these books that this pulled up, like something that discusses Master Your Emotions, you'll have a plethora of options to choose from, but these are the 10 that this book is using.
Yep. Okay, great. So that's one thing that I want to show you. So the difference between KD Spy and Publisher Rocket is the level of details. You know, KD Spy in one glance, you can see their BSR, you can see their estimate monthly revenue, and some other pieces of information. With this one, we're diving in. So this is a really good example here. Right now, with this book, we know which categories they put their book in. We know that some other categories that we might possibly choose. And when you're going to submit your book categories, that's what you should go and have a look, because Amazon has, I don't know, 17,000 different categories. So
it's ludicrous. It's a lot.
There's no way for you to actually figure it out, quickly. I mean, there's a way for you to figure it out with time, going into every single book of you, like similar to yours, and then check all those different categories and work things out. But as I said, you are only going to see 3 categories. You're not going to see the other categories on the book page. So when you use a tool like Publisher Rocket, that's just really it's really fast to give you some ideas of all the categories that you should use. That being said, it's really, really important that you choose the categories that are relevant to your book. Like I said earlier, if I go, it's not so difficult with nonfiction books, because if I want a book on, I don't know, stress management for my kids, and I see on your book page that it's just about stress management generally, I probably won't go buy it. So there's not so much of a risk for people wanting a nonfiction book on a specific topic and buy the wrong book, so to speak. But with fiction, it's very easy for people to think, oh, this is in the sub niche that I wanted, so I'm just going to get it, and then realize, no, that's not what I wanted, and your readers will be annoyed and frustrated. So very important for you to pick the right categories. There's another tool that's free that I want to share with you to figure out the categories. So with Publisher Rocket, not only you can see what the specific book are filed and what are the categories that specific book have, you can also see all the other relevant categories for those keywords, right? Like, CJ just put, what is it? Stress management? No.
Well, this time I just put master your emotions because that's what you're looking at. We can definitely type in stress management and see all of the categories for that.
So that's I guess the advantage with Publisher Rocket. It gives you all those categories. There's another tool that's free, and that gives you the categories of one specific book. So can you just copy the A scene of this book?
Yes. Oh.
Please.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then open new window and go to nerdybookgirl.com. And then go to book category tools. There's one.
There's one.
And then enter the A scene and search.
Okay. No, I don't want to just yet. Oops, cannot find the book. Tip, try changing the region. I don't want to change the region. That was weird.
Okay. All right. So it's not working, but
it doesn't like me.
Why is it not working?
I don't know. I was sitting there thinking, did I copy a space? But I don't think I did. I'll try it again. I can also try the ISBN. Oh, there we go.
Yep. So see, you have a list of the categories that this book is under. Can I just have a look at what did they put in? Self-esteem, business motivation,
and self-improvement.
Yeah. Okay.
Motivational management and leadership. That's interesting. Business motivation and self-improvement. And you'll notice the difference. Like this is books. And this is eBooks. The Kindle Store's ebook. This is books. So pay attention because you can do 10 categories for books and 10 categories for eBooks, and they can be different because they've got different types of categories under those different categories, basically.
Yep.
Umbrella categories.
Yep. Perfect. So this is really important, and this is something that you should also use when you're thinking about your book exposure. So it's much easier that you have your book listed in a less competitive categories than in a really competitive categories. So that's the reason why we say don't just limit yourself to the 2 categories that KDP is giving you. It's when you're publishing your book, but go apply for more categories. Does it make sense? And that's why we do it. The whole reason of adding more categories is not because for the sake of adding more categories. It's because we want to be in that kind of sub niche where the competition is less, so that we can actually be on top of page 1 and be competitive. So that's the whole I guess reason, and it is not something that's used by many. I actually know that some of you who send me emails about this, you're not using it. I also got the questions why my AMS ads are not working. So AMS ads, if you just look at on its own, there's a lot of reason why it's not working, and not having all the 10 categories might also impact on your AMS ads results. So just really this is not it's free. it doesn't cost you anything. So use this. And you do this for nonfiction as well as fiction. And if we have to talk about fiction, when it comes to fiction, it ties back with the keywords. If for some fiction subcategories, you have to have a specific keywords listed in your KDP backend to be able to be in that category. So that's why there's a list on the KDP. All the questions you're asking us, you can find the answers on the KDP on their help, in their, help.
Their help desk center, and also guidelines. They've got a lot of KDP publishing guidelines. You can Google that and you'll find all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And the string, the categories, they are different from country to country, unfortunately. Is there, I think Publisher Rocket has different countries. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just come right in. Let's go back. So if you click right here on the little sign, oh, they have more. When did they do this? Okay. I don't remember. No, I remember seeing that there. Sorry, it surprised me for a moment. So you could switch. You've got Germany, you've got the UK, and you've got the US. I want more, but so far we've got 3. So I will.
Yeah,
I will wait for more. But yeah, we've got those.
How about on the nerdy book girl one? Do they have more than just those 3?
Oh, let's find out. Are you saying that they actually show different countries up here?
Yep. See what it says US?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay, they just have US.
US.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, so right now, I think Nicole maybe asked this question. Yes, so right now on Publisher Rocket, it's 3. And hopefully there's going to be more. Okay, all right. Did I forget anything about it?
I don't think so, unless, I don't know. Do you want me to pull up questions, or do you want?
Let's go over some of the questions. So guys, I'm just going to start with the Q&A box. So if you have any questions in the chat box, move them to the Q&A box, because I can't, you guys are so awesome. You're going so fast, I can't keep up. All right, so Jillian, I go into Amazon, type in that I'm in US, but cannot get into incognito. Sorry, can you help? Yes, so can you show what's the shortcut for incognito mode?
So if you want to go into incognito mode, let's just get out of there. Let me just pull up regular Chrome. And you're having a hard time getting in. It's just these 3 fun little dots. I'm sure there's a specific terminology for them. I just call them little dots. And then you go, so you click on these, and then you just come here to new incognito window. So that's one way to get to the window. Was it also a question about making sure that this was showing up?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Maybe it's
not yet. Okay.
Okay, Laura. Hi, CJ. I looked at your author bio to get an idea how to write mine, and cracked up at your last sentence about making out with your hubby.
My Latin lover. Thanks.
Too much information. Too much information.
I know that it's really important for people to bond with me. I also overshare. So, if you're an introvert, that may not be your thing, but I don't care. Newbie question: if the same book appears in a number of subcategories and niches, why is it that targeting it into a low competition niche helps sales? Are people buying in categories based on sales ranks they see? No, so people aren't buying based on category ranking. What it does is, if you are competing against books that have a lower, like a sales rank that is easier to compete against, it means that your book will be seen before theirs, if that makes sense. So let's say you have a self-help book on mastering your emotions, and somebody actually types in the keyword phrase, master your emotions. If your if you've got Master Your Emotions in your title or your subtitle, and they search for that and your book pops up, but there are other books that also have that in their book description, if their sales ranks are worse, I guess you could say, it's going to be easier for you to be seen first, if that makes sense. So your people are not searching based on search rank. They're searching their topics, and you're going to pop up based on whether or not you are beating their sales ranks, but based on how many books you're selling. And it is far easier to compete against people who are selling less books than people who are selling more books. You will be buried if you're trying to attack a Harry Potter book. Like, you cannot go head to head in a category against Harry Potter. You just can't. You'll never be seen. You will not be seen on page 1. So you're trying to find the categories that are relevant to you, but books that you can compete against, okay? And that you can show up and easily be found.
I think that then go back to the very beginning, we're talking about go to a category that's, before even you start writing book, marketing book, or anything, go to a category that's not so competitive that you can actually compete. So demand is number one. You need to make sure there's a demand. But then
for nonfiction, always, I mean, obviously there will be a demand for fiction areas that I showed you, but it's harder sometimes to assess demand for nonfiction.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
Yeah. And also for nonfiction, I found that sometimes, if there's a topic that you're really interested, it doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the world will be. I mean, there's some topics that I'm very, very interested that people are just thinking that I'm weird to be interested in those topics, and that's fine. So, so you make sure that the demand is there. As the first question for nonfiction, always ask, is there actually demand? Look at the data. Don't rely just on your own opinion. And then from there, you need to go where it's not so competitive that you can actually compete. You can actually place your book in a category where, the competition is not so high that you can actually compete. Okay. Steph, is there a setting you use in Amazon to get the niches and sub-niches and sub-niches in the format showing? I can't see to get mine. I'm showing incognito I'm using incognito to show this way. I have to keep going backwards and forwards, probably a silly question. No, Steph, it's not a silly question. Is there a setting you use in Amazon to get the niche and sub-niches in the format showing?
Are you just having a hard time pulling up the actual categories on Amazon? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Steph, maybe if you want to elaborate your question.
The first thing you can do always, once you get here, whether you're in incognito mode or not, go to the bestsellers list. What it will do is it will show you, bestsellers right through here. Okay. And then the next thing to do is either click on books or click on Kindle store. Okay. And then that'll take you to the categories that you want to go to and to take a look at. And then click on Kindle eBooks, or in the other place, it would just be straight books. You wouldn't have a variety of choices there. And then all of these, right, that are underneath Kindle eBooks or that would be under books, these are considered umbrella categories. And then the niches are below them. Okay. So if we were to click on biographies and memoirs, you're going to see the umbrella category right here. And then all of these sub niches under biographies and memoirs. Okay. And then sub niches, like if we click on true crime, you'll get sub niches like abductions, kidnappings, and missing persons. Can you tell I'm obsessed with mystery? That's where I went with all of this stuff. True crime, mystery.
Okay, can we come back?
Did that help? I hope that was answering the question.
Yeah, Steph, let us know if we answered the question. JR Thomas, should we avoid BSR lower than 5,000 because the competition is too high? Is that what you are saying? So again, separate fiction from nonfiction. Right now, we're talking about nonfiction. BSR lower than 5,000, it's gonna be pretty competitive, I would assume. But also remember that BSR is only one
Aspect of nonfiction. Yeah.
you need to check. I always say that if I have some real expertise in something that's really that no one else or very few people know about, and if the BSR is quite low, I would still feel confident enough to go ahead and make my book different. And especially when it comes to nonfiction, if you have a real expertise on something or real passion about something, you are going to, it's much easier for you to do research about your readers. If you have no interest whatsoever on gardening, don't write a book on gardening, because I kill all my plants. I can't. I just don't have. I don't understand this thing. It's too much water, not enough sun. I don't know what that is. I have no interest. And whereas if I have interest in, I don't know, I'm going to say something really silly about tapeworms, and I can see there's enough demand, and then I have real expertise on tapeworms. Even if the competition is tough, I'm still going to give a try. I know it's weird. I don't know why it comes to my mind. You know what I mean? But before you assume anything, you need to make sure, is there actually demand for tapeworms? Like, are people actually interested about tapeworms? So if not, then don't go there. So demand is for nonfiction. It's really your first question, and then I'll move on to the profitability assessment. Our domain name. Yes, Ellen. I have a real passion for domain names. Okay, all right. Karen, for fiction, do you still have to eliminate any novels from the BSR that appear irrelevant or are outliers to the niche, sub-niche, or skip this because we know fiction is profitable?
I would, when it comes to search terms, you might do that within like Publisher Rocket. If you were to search clean romance and you click on the competition side just to see what books are popping up under clean romance, and you see you've got erotica under clean romance, and clearly someone's fudging, like clearly someone is trying to get their books into categories that do not apply. But when it comes to fiction, you're not actually going through and saying, oh, this doesn't apply, this doesn't apply, this doesn't apply. What you're doing is you're saying what is too competitive, basically. Anything under romance, it's going to be profitable. Anything under mystery, thriller, suspense, it's going to be profitable. They just are some of the biggest genres when it comes to selling anything in the book, whether fiction or nonfiction. The biggest one is romance. Virginie hates that, but it's so true and satisfying. So yeah, that's the really big difference between nonfiction and fiction, is that you have a formula to follow with nonfiction, and that's take a look at this average sales rank, take a look at all of this here. We've got biographies and memoirs of abductions, kidnappings, and missing persons. But, you know, if we wanted to get really specific within this and say, hey, I actually think that I would like to do a biography on someone who has survived a kidnapping, then you're taking it a step further, because you're not just looking at the possible category that you could put a potential thing in. And I'm sorry, can you hear that background noise? I apologize. There's landscapers out there. I'm so sorry. But basically what you would be saying is, you know, you'd actually go in and search it to see if it's popular. So, you know, biographies on kidnapping survivors. I'm sure there's a better way to write this. And make sure that you check all the different ways that you could like search this, because not everybody's searching it this way to check for profitability. Do you want to keep talking, Virginie, to talk about this and how you would do that, so I can mute myself and nobody has to hear the weirdness going on?
What am I talking about? Sorry.
Okay, I just want to show them, like, because it seems like that question about assessing, you know, like sales rank and bestseller ranks and how it's different for nonfiction. The difference is you're searching something specifically that would fall under a category. So we're looking at abductions, kidnappings, and whatnot. We see that it's, you know, when we looked at it before, it wasn't too competitive, just initial look. So it's like, okay, well, what could I write underneath that particular category? What would I want to focus on? And I'm sitting there thinking, ooh, I think it would be really interesting to do a biography or a collection of stories on people who have survived kidnappings. They've been kidnapped and they escaped, or they were held for 20 years and survived all of that. That would be interesting. Is there a demand for it? So you search for that up here. You kind of step away from that specific umbrella category, and your next steps are to actually search that particular topic. And so you type it in the best way that you can. There are going to be various ways you could type it because people search things differently. So, you know, twist it around, try to figure out the best way to search it. But what you're finding and what you're really looking at right here is your average sales rank to see if that is even a topic that is profitable and worth pursuing. Okay. Yeah.
It's just on first glance of this KD Spy page, I'm pretty confident that this is not going to be the actual average sales rank. There's quite a few novels in there. So you need to remove all those books that are not relevant to the topic that you're doing. So again, this is nonfiction. This is nonfiction. It's not fiction. CJ, it's all your fault. You're just confusing everyone with your fiction stuff. Yeah, so for nonfiction, that's what you do. You key in the keywords that you think your readers might use, not you, your readers might use, and then do a quick check on KD Spy, remove all the outliers, and just to have an idea of the real average sales rank. So, okay. There's a question for you, from Christine. What helps you sort out competition in fiction? All with stoplight, or do you use another method?
Sorry, it's so loud behind me. I'm looking at the stoplights, yes, but I'm also looking at the sales ranks. If I'm seeing that the majority of the sales ranks are like 1,000 for each book, I want to stay away from that category. It's just going to be too competitive. But if maybe just a few are 1,000 and we're jumping up to like 10,000, 12,000, and it's, you know, you can tell pretty quickly as it's jumping up if that's something you could compete in, because anything usually above 10,000 is going to be easier to compete against. And if the majority of these are above 10,000 each, that's better. That's easier to compete against. If all of these are like within 5,000, 4,000 sales rankings, and I mean like a good half of them are, that's going to be difficult to compete. I wouldn't put my book in that category if I'm new to this and I'm new to marketing. Maybe if you've been doing this a while and you've got a big fan base, then you wouldn't be afraid of competing against those books that are selling much more than when you originally started out, if that makes sense. Did I answer that question?
Yep. Next question, I think it's about, is there a list of sensitive words that we should not use? There are some words that you should not use. I'm trying to find that that guideline from KDP. So if you just Google KDP guideline keywords, then it should take you to a guideline on how you should choose the keywords and what are some of the keywords you should avoid. Okay. As the recommended word count for the book are 30,000 for nonfiction, Ellen, is this including the reference section in the back of the manuscript? No, 30,000 actual words. Okay, so this brings to a good point. It's really important that you know 30,000. It's just a range. Maybe your nonfiction book needs to be much more than 30,000, or maybe less than 30,000. So you need to see what your top competitors are doing and emulate what they are doing, And there's nothing worse, I think, than keyword stuffing or word stuffing in a book, just for the sake of filling out the 30,000. Sometimes, maybe at 27,000 or 25,000, that's it. I'd rather have something that's concise and to the point than having feeling words. Did you say that?
Yeah, filler words. And readers notice, like readers know when you're giving them content that's not valuable or high quality. If you're repeating yourself, they're going to be like, okay, I spent money on something and I didn't learn anything, at least not the last half of it anyway. And that's really disappointing. And then you'll get nailed for, on your reviews. They'll let you know. So
Nyla, even though we can only see 3 categories on the product details page, are the other 7 categories equally focused on? Thanks. I think I read somewhere if there's a hierarchy amongst the 10 categories. I think not. Nyla, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, a lot of those things, it's just based on our own experience, and no one knows anything about how Amazon algorithms work. If I did, I would be like, I would be Jeff Bezos, like I wish.
Yeah, and there's several of them. There's several different algorithms, and they're changing them all the time because they can, and they're mean.
Yeah, so sorry, Nyla, I can't. I don't know. From my testing, I didn't see any hierarchy amongst the categories, but I don't know.
One thing, the reason why those 3 will pop up though, as opposed to the other 7, is simply because those are the 3 categories within the 10 that you rank the highest in. So it's the most advantageous for you, basically.
Oh, and also once you've uploaded those all those categories, don't expect for Amazon to update it straight away. It's going to take maybe a couple of days, and that's normal. So that's patience. How do we figure out the competitiveness of a category? I think let's go into a category. Let's go in a category. Non-fiction.
Fine. You have to tell me. It's sad that you have to tell me. Am I really that? Yes, you're right. Don't answer that. Criminals, espionage, forensics. Which one would you like?
Oh, it's espionage.
Okay, let's do it. All right.
Do you have the,
See, I can already tell just by ranking, this would probably be a pretty great category to be in. Especially because we really haven't narrowed down any specific ideas when it comes to espionage. We're just looking at espionage in general, biographies of espionage. It wouldn't be a bad place to be because these bestseller ranks, they're not too high and they're not too low. And you could easily compete in there. So I want you guys to take a look at this average sales rank. What they've done is they've added all of these together, all 20, and then they've divided by 20 to get the average sales rank. When we encourage you to pick a category, we want you to pick a category that has about 150,000 sales rank or lower. And anything like lower than 10,000, I would stay away from, because you'll get that red light where it's really, really competitive to be in there in that space. But this just as a category, just as an idea, but not anything that we've really niched down yet as far as the book idea. This doesn't look bad. These are books about espionage. They're biographies of espionage, and it looks like there's a demand there because the average sales rank, when you add all of these together and then it's divided by 20, is 36,153. So that's well within that range that we discuss and tell you about.
But then when you go a little bit more in depth, you can see a lot of books are probably not nonfiction. There might be a lot of novels.
Oh, yeah. And you do want to check that out and just check to make sure. The Hunting Jackal, a Special Forces and CIA Ground Soldiers 50. I don't know. These may all be nonfiction because it's specifically biographies. So we didn't do a book topic search. We actually looked in that. You want to make sure though, because some people will just be very not ethical, I guess you could say, or just not smart because they think they're being smart, and actually put their novel in a nonfiction category, which they shouldn't do. So always check and make sure that none of these are novels, because let's say that Spy Mistress, the true story of the greatest female secret agent of World War II, if that was actually a novel and you wanted to take it out by clicking on the arrow right here, it would change the average sales rank to give you a more accurate reading as to what the average sales rank is and whether it's still profitable.
Hey, can you just go to a serial killer for a second? Because
yes.
I know that serial killers is really, really popular.
Yes. Let's take a look.
And the reason why I'm thinking of serial killers is because I don't know. So I mean,
you're gonna say something. I know what you're gonna say. You're censoring yourself. Don't do it.
I am censoring myself. So I'm quite fascinated by serial killers. So I like to.
Oh, this has always been a very great category, a fun category, because lots of people are fascinated with this. Yes, you've got all greens right here, but look at the numbers. Do not get bogged down by the stoplights. I call them stoplights. Look at the numbers, okay? Because you've got a lot of demand here when it comes to biographies of serial killers, but you need to pay attention to the types of books that they're focusing on that are popular, and what you could focus on, what would be profitable. But just as a category in and of itself, biographies of serial killers is profitable. Now you got to find a book topic that will also be profitable within this category, okay?
Yep.
And a little bit of it honestly seems a bit questionable to me, just because nearly half of it is, I would say that this, right, I mean, these would be really hard to compete against, just a little. And the average sales rank is under 10,000, so it still looks to me really difficult. Even that's why I want you guys to pay attention to the sales ranks, because even though it's showing green, I mean, it's massively popular, it might be a little bit harder to compete. It's not that you can't, just pay attention to the sales ranks, okay?
Okay, all right. So I'm just mindful of the time. For the new people who just joined us, the call is normally 1 hour, but I have this condition that makes me.
If she sees all of these questions, her OCD kicks in. We have it, and we've got to answer them. So stop asking questions. So she'll never stop it.
Oh my God, this is really, really stressful right now.
So you can go at any time. This is going to be recorded. Okay. You'll see all of it, but Virginie struggles. And if I were looking at the Q&A, I don't look at the Q&A because I know that I'll be there going, we got to get through all the questions.
Yeah.
I want to help you guys. So,
okay. So, all right, where is it? How do you get access to Publisher Rocket? I think in the training video, there's a link to get to the software.
Yes, but you can also just type in publisherrocket.com, I think. I'm pretty sure. Or just Google Publisher Rocket. Google is a beautiful.
But there's a link in the under the video when we use that tool the first time, I think, in the training video. Yes, and this is just a one-off payment. He keeps saying that he's going to change it to maybe a subscription model, but he hasn't yet. So I would get in, and it's a one-off. It's $97, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Forever. Which it's a really, really great tool to.
It's pretty great.
Help you
and you get the updates constantly for free, which is really nice. Because again, Amazon's always changing its algorithms, and their ability to get data from them. So they've always got to update things and access things.
Did you say the nerdybookgirl.com is free? Yes, it is free. The tool is free. Why are the categories for ebooks different than books?
That's a good question. The answer to that is we don't know.
And also, because some books are just better suitable for an ebook format.
That's true. Cookbooks, for example, and activity books, journals.
So yeah, it depends a little bit the topic. So it's if you have a lot of, say, pictures in your book, so maybe ebook is not the right format. It's maybe better in a paperback or hardcover. So that's why we think.
Also, some genres just sell better in books than ebooks, and so Amazon really caters to
that. JR, should we focus on the sub niches when picking categories?
I would definitely do that, because the broader you get, the more competitive it is, the more niche down. Find that balance, because sometimes if you go too niche, there's zero demand. And I'm speaking specifically about book topics. Like if you search for something like, I can't even think of anything off the top of my head, but if you search for something so niche that only you are interested in it, that's going to be very difficult to find profitability. But as far as the actual sub niche categories go, you want to go down as far as you can if it's possible, because there's less competition there than in the broader categories.
And this is a comment that applies for both fiction and non-fiction. The more niche you go, the better. You cannot please everyone. So don't try to be as broad as possible, thinking that you're going to capture a wide audience. Especially nowadays, people like to be part of a small community of something, so a small group of something. So don't try to be super broad and hoping that you're going to get a lot of sales. I think it's going to be detrimental if you're trying to be really, really broad.
You'll be covering a lot of pain points and a lot of different topics that will overwhelm you and overwhelm your reader. And you can never actually really dive in deep to just one specific problem that you're solving, or even two. And that's really what people are after, especially with attention spans shortened and those books being a lot shorter. The quicker you can get in and solve the pain points for them, and really dial in on the actual problems and give very valuable content in ways of solving them, or whatever that reader expectation is within nonfiction, the better for you and for your book.
Okay, can you explain the difference between the 7 keywords to define versus the word cloud in KD Spy?
It's all keywords. So the word cloud in KD Spy, they're just pulling up the most common keywords that they've found amongst the 20 books that are listed in KD Spy. But the 7 keywords that you actually put in KDP, I wouldn't necessarily use that word cloud. I would go into Publisher Rocket and really assess different keywords and assess the data. And if you have no idea how to do that, we've done several weekly calls on Publisher Rocket and keyword research and assessing the different data points as to how many people are searching that keyword and whether it's too competitive to be using it or not. So that's really what you want to focus on. So I have found, and it's just my personal opinion, but I mostly find that the word cloud in KD Spy is not specific enough or helpful enough. There are a lot of broad general terms that they're just scrying and finding, usually because these books and these folks who have published them don't understand keyword research and they haven't done theirs. So they don't have really helpful, accessible keywords that would help you. So.
I'm new, Susie, I'm new to the course. Are there any more tutorial how to analyze how competitive a niche is? There are quite a few weekly calls we've done in the past on analyzing competition. But all those weekly calls are recorded and they are in your member area. So I would go back and have a look there. I know that I promised that I'm going to put a title next to each date. I think we only start putting the title next to the date since maybe end of March.
Yeah.
I know I have about 3 months worth of titling to do. I promise I'm going to get there for the end of the year. I promise. Hold me to this. Otherwise,
it's a lot of videos of us, so you
otherwise,
know.
no Christmas for me. But Zuzi, we are doing that regularly. We're going to go to assess profitability regularly. So because we know there's new people joining in, and you know, this is obviously the foundation of your business, which is finding a profitable book that's not in the too competitive category. So I'm going to do this, otherwise no Christmas, promise. But in the meantime, if you even the ones that we put the title around, I think you can find some videos around assessing profitability, assessing competition. So
can I also say something real quick? It's one thing to consume content. Like, you can go and watch those videos all day long if you want to, especially if you miss us. However, if you do not implement, it's different. If you physically go in and implement, you're going to learn it faster, because what I find a lot of times is that people will learn the profitability process and then they will feel lost as they go and do it. So maybe just watch one step in the process, pause the video, go and do that step. Okay, so that you're practicing and you're getting better and better at it, rather than watching the entire thing, going and trying to do the entire thing, possibly forgetting stuff and then doing it wrong. Okay, and then getting into the habit of doing it wrong instead of taking it step by step and implementing it that way. The more you do this, the better you will get at it, but just do it one step at a time until you know that you're doing it right. Okay.
And once you found a book that looks good, go ahead. Don't go back to the drawing board and look for another one. The name of the game is to launch a book, not to keep finding new topics, right?
Yeah, no analysis paralysis. Don't spin your wheels. Now, we want you to find a lot of topics, but we want you to be moving forward.
The software that we use are KD Spy and Publisher Rocket. Jillian, I'm using Firefox, not Chrome. Is that why I cannot get into incognito? You can still get into incognito with Firefox, but we really recommend you get the Chrome browser rather than anything else. You know, I use a Mac best, but so the default browser for us, for example, is Safari. But I still use Chrome for everything I do online. It's just a much superior browser. And also a lot of apps that you're going to use, for example, KD Spy, I'm pretty sure it only works on Chrome and not on, oh, no, it does work on other browsers. But some other apps that you're going to, some other free apps that we mentioned in the course, it's not going to work on anything else but Chrome. Okay. No, stop it. Okay, no, okay, so
children have arrived from school and there will be no holding them back now. I apologize.
So no, Steph is saying CJ get the category but only one label at a time, then I go back and forth to show subcategories and I can't find an Amazon layout. So Steph, I still don't get it. Sorry. Do you want to maybe do a few screenshots and then send me an email, kpi@blueskyamazon.com? Sorry, Steph.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. I'm having a hard time visualizing what you mean, because it should just all be on the same page, like all the umbrellas and the sub niches, they should all be on there. So I would need to see it to understand what you're talking about. So sorry about that.
How do you identify Amazon has created a new sub niche category? You don't. Amazon creates new sub niches all the time. You can't. There's no announcement from Amazon.
I hear about it because I'm in a lot of different author groups on Facebook, and someone who is, writing crazy things and looking at different stuff, they're like, there's absurdist fiction. I think I actually heard that from one of the new coaches who was like, there's a category called absurdist and I am obsessed. And so now she's off. And yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure it was a coach. I think it was. But yeah, so get involved in network, and that's how you learn a lot of things as well. Network with each other, network with other authors and writers on Facebook, join those groups. You can learn a lot.
Yep. Sandra, no questions appearing in this since about 30 minutes ago. I don't know. Yeah, I'm okay.
No questions are appearing in the Q&A?
No. Well, I'm reading all the questions, so I don't know what.
I mean, there's like 43 of them, and your OCD is strong.
I know it is very strong. So can we push this through? So Steph, just send me a screenshot with what you're trying to explain. I'll see if we can. It's probably us, so we apologize. It's us. We're a bit slow. Carrie, why do we have to add an American address in incognito when we are doing our research? If you don't, so for example, I'm in Australia. If I open an incognito window on Amazon.com and it says delivery address is to Australia, I won't see some of the Kindle books. I don't know why. I think it's maybe it's I don't know why. So it's just a good practice to always change that to a US postcode. What are all the different factors you should consider to assess demand? What are all the different factors you should consider to assess demand? You need to demand. So we're only talking about demand. So if there's no money, no one is making any money. So that means probably no one's buying the book. What else? I think that's the only factor when you think about demand. So the question is, how do I know if this sub niche has demand? And for me, the only way I know is if there's a results. And by results, I mean by sales. If there's no sales, that probably means there's no demand. If that makes sense, Carrie. Right. Where do you see the BSR on the screen? So do you want to go back to the book page?
Yes.
To any book page?
Okay. Oh, it's slow. I'm sorry. And it's on the book page. So you just scroll down to where that product information was. Oh, and there goes the landscapers again. Right on time. So you can see the bestseller rank right here.
Okay. Evelyn, I was wondering what it is, CJ, thanks. I think probably you got your questions answered, Evelyn. Wandana found this definition of absurdist fiction in case it helps. Absurdist fiction is a genre of literature that uses non-chronological storytelling, surrealism, and comedy to explore themes like existentialism and the human condition. The absurd in literature often follows main characters who feel purposeless or have developed a disillusionment with their lives, religion, or society. Brilliant. Excellent. And you know, there's like 2 seconds of pause, like let that sink in. Yeah, excellent. Grace, so just to confirm, for fiction books, do you still use KD Spy? Yep, you still use KD Spy. Okay, I just answered it. So what is the average sales rank we should use as our benchmark? Kim, for nonfiction, use the profitability assessment sheet. There's, I think, anywhere around 150 to 200,000. It's fine. It's fine. It's a good starting point. What do the blue TSC link to the in KD Spy? I checked this. I can't remember. Do you want to just click on KD Spy and then click on the links. I can't remember. I think it's to some other pages. No. On yeah. So yeah, the TSC. I think it takes you to a different page. Click on any one of these. Oh, it's
You can track sales with the T,
yeah.
and you could like track it over the month if you want to look at a specific book.
Yeah, okay. And what's the other ones? Yeah, it takes you to a yeah, I remember that one. So yeah, it takes you to a Google
Takes
page.
you to a search for the book specifically if you want to know what Google's pulling up on it.
And then the last one? Pictures, I think.
So it'll show you the cover, images of the cover.
I think they're doing like an image with C, they're doing a image Google search. So they're going to put the cover in there and they're going to see what with that cover, what are some of the links that are showing up in Google. I don't really use any of these things. Sandra, still not seeing any of the questions you said will be posted here since 15 minutes into this session. I don't know. I see all the questions. Is green good or bad? Green, red, yellow, Kim. So again, this is really just for indication. Do not rely too much on this. Green is great. Yellow is borderline and red is probably not good, if that makes sense. So if you hover over each button, there's a bit of an explanation. So yellow caution, there's some healthy competition here. Okay. Yes, Kim, green means it has potential. So for example, here, the revenue potential in this category is very good, but really do not rely only on this. You need to check all the 20 items on the first page and make sure to remove any outliers. And what I mean by outliers is things that are, for example, books that are not relevant to your keywords, or things that have a BSR of 0 or 1,000,000 or something. So the things that are out of ordinary. Jillian, whilst we work our way through the modules, should I be looking for a ghostwriter now as well? By the time I get to know what I want to write about, then I need to find a writer, which will take time. So should I start now looking for a writer? No, don't look for a writer if you don't know what you're going to write on, because different ghostwriters write on different topics, different categories, different genres. So I wouldn't go look for a ghostwriter too early without knowing actually what I'm going to cover. Okay, what's the name of the girl website? So it's Nerdy Book Girl. Yeah, CJ is going to put nerdybookgirl.com. Julian, yes, I have a Mac. Should I be signing into my Amazon account and then get into it? No. Chrome browser, it's for your entire computer. Amazon, Amazon is just a platform. You can browse Amazon on any type of browser you want, but the browser that we recommend will be Chrome. So if you just Google Chrome from Mac, then download the Chrome browser and then just use that browser. Don't use a Safari, don't use Firefox, just use Chrome. Okay. Okay, guys, you're keeping me busy. So if you're sub niche, then if you sub niche, then try to use KD Spy. It won't give the details. It will only do bestsellers, so a bit hard to access because KD Spy doesn't drill down enough. So are you saying, Denise, that if we're going to a very sub niche, that KD Spy does not give any data? Can you try, CJ? Go to a sub niche and see if KD Spy would give data. Go. Well, we are in some niche right now, so we're in.
So we've got white collar crime. These are, so this is already a sub niche right here. So we've got the umbrella category right here, the sub niche category, and these are sub niches right here.
Go to white collar crime.
Okay.
And then click on KD Spy.
Okay.
So it does, Denise, it does give some data here. So, and if you have any like technical question around KD Spy, for example, reach out to KD Spy because we are not, software engineers. So we're probably having the same issues as you guys. So if you have any technical questions around that, just reach out to their support. Jillian is finally in Chrome. Yeah, we're done. I cannot tell you the next week's topic because I like to have a sense of the questions that are coming to me and then decide on the topic next week because I want to make sure that it's a topic that's asked by a lot of you. Okay. Great, Carla. Thank you. This was brilliant. My first call and first week. Boy, what a lot of info. Yes, it's. Yeah, I know it can get quite overwhelming, and just as we said, baby steps. Please don't think about maybe fiction when you don't know anything about
right.
KDP yet.
That brief fiction intro was strictly for people who've been coming to these KPI calls a lot and they really wanted to learn a little bit about the difference between fiction. So skip that part until you're ready for it.
Yep. I have a book ready to go. Can anyone recommend how I get a cover done? Fiverr, this is probably the best place.
And that's fiverr.com.
Yeah.
It's 2 R's. It's weird.
But what I like to do is have a bit of their level. I like to hire at least level 2 cover designers on Fiverr and also have a bit of a look of their past work. See if their style resonates with yours and see if so, a fiction book cover, it's very different to a non-fiction one, for example. So you got to see a little bit their portfolio and if that actually, aligns with your book topic.
You can always do a search on Fiverr specific to the genre. So you could say self-help cover design. And maybe someone actually put that in their job where they are specializing in creating cover designs for self-help books. Another thing that will really help your cover designer is if you go to your books, like go look at your competitors, see what they're doing with their cover designs, and take some samples and upload them, show them to your cover designers and say, this is the type of design or the type of look for this specific self-help niche? Can you recreate it or mimic it? You know, it needs to look really good in a thumbnail. So.
So Lynn, is fiction profitable only if you get the advertising right? Fiction's promotion, marketing, advertising is quite different to nonfiction. It's not, I mean, I think your comment applies for both, for fiction and nonfiction. You know, advertising definitely give a big push, especially if you're already on the Amazon platform. You might as well use their advertising tool, which is the AMS ads. But for you to be able to get the advertising right, you need to write to your readers. So goes back to what's I covered maybe 3 weeks ago when CJ abandoned me.
Abandoned. She's never gonna let me live this down. Betrayal, betrayal, cheating.
Yes, all that. So she went spend a week with someone else instead of spending time with me. But anyway, I digress. So on that topic, on that call,
my master's degree, it's fine.
No, it's not. So
it's
on
not,
that call,
higher education is not allowed.
On that call, what I covered was all about, you need to, before, you know, when you look into a topic, you have to start thinking very early on, who am I writing this book for? And that's where you can actually start you know, planning all the things that you need to think about when you're going to do advertising, because there's no point in advertising to the entire world when your book is only targeting, I don't know, single moms, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really important that you actually think what, before you even start writing,
right?
Think, who is this book for? Fiction or non-fiction, it doesn't matter, both fiction or non-fiction. Who am I writing for? If I'm writing for a, you know, romance, for example, see, romance. If I'm writing for sci-fi, still don't get it.
Sci-fi romance, alien warrior, sci-fi romance. Then you need to know specifically, do I have happily ever afters? I mean, is it all resolved in one book? These are compelling questions and very important.
And then you got to think about that, because when it comes to advertising, for example, there's no point for you to advertise for, you know, the whole genre of romance if your book is for sci-fi romance readers. So very early on, you got to think about your audience. This is with the demand. I think that's the next really big question. Who am I writing this book for? It's not the name of the game is not just to put a book out there and hoping that someone will come and take it. You have to plan all those things. And when you prepare the book outline, there's actually a question around your audience. Who is this book for? Who is your ideal reader? And that's very intentional, because we want you to think about this aspect before you even start thinking about the book content and things like that.
And that outline can be found in your KPI resources tab. So that wonderful, beautiful book outline template that we provide for you, please utilize it, because the very first thing you're doing is figuring out who your target audience is and what their pain points are, what their specific things that you're trying to solve. Demographics, what's their age range, what do they like to do on the weekend? What are their main struggles when it comes to raising children? If you're doing single moms, what's the battle here? How are we solving it? What 2 problems could we focus on? So it's got a lot of good questions in there. Go look at it. It will help you.
Okay. Carla, if you launch your ebook and then later on will Amazon let you change the cover? You have to unpublish, submit new cover, get Amazon to review the cover, and then they can if they approve it, they can get you to upload the new, they can let you publish the new cover. So everything you publish on Amazon, it will be checked, it will be reviewed first. So that's why it's not instant. Once you upload the cover and the manuscript, and answered all the questions, title, subtitle, keywords, and all that, Amazon will check everything, and then if they approve, they will the book will become live. If they don't approve, they will tell you what's the problem. Lynn, the question, I have all the questions here, Lynn, including yours. So Teresa, thank you both for the comparison between fiction and nonfiction. This has really helped me to understand what I should do first and how to approach each. I'm interested in both.
Great.
Yep. But start with nonfiction.
Nonfiction. Yeah. Get your feet wet with nonfiction.
It's a little bit easier. It's not easier, it's different. That's what it's different, and it's more
straightforward, I think.
Yeah, it's more, because we understand nonfiction, as because we all read nonfiction books, but where it comes to fiction, that's it's a little bit more foreign to us, maybe some of us, let me just.
And then there are people like me who just read constantly, so maybe you already know what the reader expectations are in a fiction specific sub niche. In that case, go for it.
Okay, all right, so I'm done with all the Q&A questions. Thank you everyone for your questions, and I haven't looked at the chat box, and I know that you've been helping each other. This is so great to see. That's what we want to see. We want to see that you're helping each other, that you're lifting each other's up, not down. And this is what it's about. This community is, we just, we get to develop a relationship with you. And thank you so much for letting us indulge in our little banter from time to time. So it's this is why we do this, because we want to help you as much as we can, and we also want to have this connection with you guys. So thank you for letting us be who we are, and
be part of it. We like you guys.
We like you guys a lot. And for the new guys, welcome for joining us. It's a lot. William, we love you too.
Yay, okay. William.
Okay, I have a reputation to.
Oh, that's right. She's a barracuda. Yes. We've all discussed this. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. It was so good to see you all. And we will do it all again next week. Good luck with those who are in the lockdown. It's time to do some books, eh?
Deep breaths.
Right. Have a great weekend. Almost there. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.